This is Roger Struckoff with Syscon TV, day 3, 1, 2, 3, day 3 at CloudEXPO at the Javits Center in New York in June 2017. And we are joined now by Mark Lavi from Nutanix. Thanks for joining us. He spoke today, and they had lots of fun facts and figures and recommendations and all that sort of stuff. So let's tell our viewers what you talked about and why you talked about it, and we can drill down a little bit.
Sure. Thank you, Roger. It's a pleasure being here. It's been a great conference already. And so, yeah, the keynote this morning, we spoke about the value proposition of Nutanix, of having a DevOps culture and a mindset, and the business outcomes of achieving agility and scale, which everybody here is trying to accomplish. And so, we basically laid out the journey for what it takes to understand the problem, how difficult IT can be, how it's increasingly more complex, how increasingly we have millennial expectations of having everything happen instant on, and how the public cloud has really spoiled us to make everything one click to kind of get infrastructure up and going.
Yeah, I mean, you've got users who have no patience at all, and they expect stuff just like that. Refresh my Starbucks thing yesterday morning for my coffee. Come on, I need this now. And meanwhile, there's some computing going on. It's a transaction. There's a lot going on there. And so, yeah, as a result, right, the actual enterprise IT folks are also impatient.
This is true. And so even if you were to hire somebody into IT these days, they're going to have expectations of what IT should be. And so these are the dreams that we've always had an aspiration to do. And every time we've had problems and something on fire and we're working on it at 4 in the morning, we always ask ourselves, can't there be a better way? Well, yes, there is now. So we started to talk about that journey of what the Nutanix platform does in Hyperconverged by driving operational expenditures down, by automating as much as possible what it takes to build a cluster of scale out, shared nothing, fail your tolerant and fault tolerant infrastructure so that you can run all the applications of the business. And also do this with a single pane of glass so that you can have one admin work with thousands and thousands of Nutanix servers so that basically we get that scale out operational efficiency. So the business just runs quickly.
It runs quickly, and a couple of years ago we put DevOps into the program here. Kind of put it off to the side. Now it's like suffusing the entire program and all the conversations I'm hearing. But yeah, you said don't hire DevOps people. What's the serious point you're making when you say that?
Yes, there is a corollary. And it would be disingenuous of me to say, don't just hire DevOps people. I'm trying to put it in the context of don't hire DevOps people to make them the crutch for all of the innovation, all the technical debt, and all the cultural debt of the organization that's required to accomplish this agility and scale that the business so desperately deserves and needs, and IT wants to accomplish. Don't hire DevOps people because they will become the bottleneck. They will increasingly inherit all that debt, and if you only can scale your DevOps operations through headcount, well, you've created an unsustainable business practice. So I say don't hire DevOps people only because we need to all distribute DevOps value system across the existing organization so that all of the testers, all the developers, and all the operators align in their DevOps mission to accomplish a DevOps outcome, which is that agility and scale of the business. And this is a business outcome. It's not a technology outcome, it's not metrics.
Yeah, it's like we'll just throw a little DevOps at it and we'll get a culture and that's our easy button. There's no easy button.
No easy button. And so that's why I really want to force people to think about adopting DevOps and understanding that it's not a thing that you buy, it's a culture, it's a transformation, as well as it implies a set of technologies and methodologies, of course, but it's a journey and you just can't get it out of the box. So does that, and I think what's also great is that as you brought the DevOps audiences and community together with the infrastructure team and the cloud organizations here at CloudEXPO, that is the realization of how DevOps needs to be distributed and collaborative with all of these things as well.
Yes, I like analogies, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. We kind of have everything under the rubric of cloud, which also is not an easy button. Now let's talk a little bit about the history of the company. It's kind of a relatively brief history, but already a lot of changes. I mean, the thing is, Nutanix is like reinventing itself, and it's not even an old company that normally would have to do that, but things are moving quickly.
That's correct. And Nutanix is only about 6 years old, and we have managed to double our sales every year of existence. Okay. And that means we're on track to do $1 billion.
I guess the number gets big when you use exponents. I guess you're finding it out.
We're one of those unicorns, and so we managed to IPO last September, and even NASDAQ is a customer of ours, right? So that was wonderful, but that's the realization of the opportunity that we have to disrupt the traditional infrastructure industry with basically what I would say is the hyperconverged infrastructure platform, which is a stepping stone towards what we say is the enterprise cloud.
Let's talk about hyperconverged a little bit. I hear that term rattling around, and I actually work, serve as sort of a volunteer co-chair at a data center conference, and these people are under duress, and they're changing. So, hyperconverged is a big term. What's it mean? What's it mean to your company?
So, there's lots of definitions of hyperconverged, but our definition, and I believe the reason why we are the market leader with over 50% of the market, and we're only going to double down and grow that because this is our bread and butter, but it's also the opening acts of the company. But hyperconverged really is the ability to scale out all of your compute and all of your storage and ultimately all of your networking, basically all of your infrastructure without any limitations. Because at the end of the day, when we look at SANs, it's nobody upgrades the SAN with the firmware updates because one, it's downtime, and two, they don't know if it'll work. Yeah. So as a result, nobody maintains their infrastructure to an extent. They're paralyzed by fear. With Nutanix, everything is distributed in our hyperconverged appliances, and we're really just cluster software on top of it. So this means that every node basically can fail, and we can fail over to all these things because everything is already redundant. It's not a problem to have failure. We're designed for failure. And that means, as a result, we can take a node out and upgrade the firmware, upgrade the operating system, upgrade the applications, and people can do this in production during lunch. And this is the experience that you want. This is an on-premises cloud experience for infrastructure.
Yeah, you're doing things at scale like that. It's not like oh no, something has failed. This is all. Failure is an option. That's not really the good way to put it, but it occurred to me that in a way you have to design.
You have to design for failure because nobody's perfect. Amazon's not perfect. They have outages. That's just the fact. So if you don't design for failure and you don't design to improve from failure, and that's inherently what our architecture and our value prop is, then yes, you become a risk-adverse organization that can't advance the business with agility.
Right, and then a failure is a true failure, and you don't want that. Listen to him. These people really know what they're doing. How do they find you online? I can see your logo here. Oh, yeah. That's one way. So how do they find you online and social and all that stuff?
Well, Nutanix.com, Nutanix.com, and people love to butcher it to be Nutanix, and even the actors from Silicon Valley butchered it as a parody, which is hilarious. So you can find us on YouTube, you can find us everywhere. The truth is that it's not hard to find us on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and all that good stuff.
Our viewers are really smart. They wouldn't do that, and they will find you. Thanks a lot for coming, and hey, thanks for watching. For Syscon TV, this is Roger Strukoff.